Well, good evening once again, and welcome to the Ref's Opinion. This is the show where we take a weekly look at all the refereeing decisions in the past week and beyond. We break down the key points of the matches, from controversial calls to the ones that flew under the radar. We also give the referee's perspective on the moments that everybody is talking about. If you'd like to contribute to the show, you're more than welcome to. We'd love to have you hear your thoughts and your comments. There's a little thing down there on the right-hand side of your screen as you're looking at it, where you can make a comment or you can ask a question. Delighted to be joined once again by former Premier League referee, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL. They're the guys who look after the referees in the Premier League and in the Championship, and the man responsible for introducing goal line technology, which has been a huge success in the game. Just want to start off by mentioning a very sad note. Not only the young South African player who died, having returned from the World Cup and having played in the World Cup. So this young man, only 25 years of age, passed away. And something that I didn't know of, that while we were off air, Keith brought to my attention a referee from Holland who also passed away. You have a little bit more detail on that, Keith.
Yes, I just got a note on social media. It was a guy called Rob Dieperink. He was only 38, and he was dropped from the World Cup. So really sad in a sporting environment that a young man, well, in the case of both player from South Africa and this referee from Holland, such young age to sadly pass away. We don't know the details in both cases, but my condolences, our condolences to their family, to their friends. You know, refereeing is a community, just like football is a community. So it's quite sad, really, in that situation.
Indeed, and I echo your thoughts and your sympathies to the young man in South Africa and to this referee as well. Yeah, makes you wonder, you know, there's more to life, isn't there, than even football or, you know. Anyway, condolences to both families on that very sad news. From last week, Keith, we had a case of mistaken identity. Now, it's got a huge amount of coverage in the papers, on the TV, on social media. I don't know, did you witness the incident?
I didn't. I saw it obviously late on. And I must admit, you know, we have law changes. We have changes that come in and sometimes they catch us out. This one certainly caught me out. I was, what's happening here? And of course, those that didn't see it, the referee has cautioned someone, yellow carded, and VAR comes in. The caution was for an alleged reckless challenge. The VAR comes in, the referee goes to the screen, and you're thinking, I think this is going to go towards red. But then what happens is the referee comes back onto the park, negates the yellow card to the player that he's already shown a yellow card, and then turns to an opponent of the player, the guy who he thought was sort of injured and everything, and dismisses him, gives him a second yellow card. And everybody was bemused by it. The media caught out, everybody caught out. The law has changed, and it goes mistaken identity. When the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player. So what happened here was the referee has effectively cautioned a player. VAR has come in and said, you got this wrong. You've actually been deceived. The opponent of the player has simulated. We've talked about simulation. We've talked about the need to increase the penalty. what happens? This referee, with great courage, turns to the player who's the one that's simulated. Now we know, we can see in the video, and issues him with the yellow card. Then follows with the red, because that same player already on a yellow card. And then everybody's going like shell shocked. The players, what's going off? Media, this is a yellow card. That's all it is. They then catch up with the fact that the referee has actually said, right, if it's not a foul and it's not reckless, and you've acted in a way to simulate and didn't deceive me as a referee, I'm giving you a yellow card. So it was an incredible moment where you see a change in law being applied and catching everybody out.
The thing that doesn't bother me in the slightest, whether if players deserve a yellow or red card, then so be it. And just a comment that Brian has come in very quickly on this, and he says, in that case, can VAR intervene? Well, just tidy that up, Keith.
Well, this is, I think, a fair question, because I've posed in my media comments that I would like FIFA and the IFAB to come out and clarify. But look, mistaken identity is when the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player. What this referee has done is caution a player for what he considers to be a reckless challenge, and VAR has come in, stretched it, I think, a little bit, and said, right, you've got the wrong player. It's mistaken identity. It's not a reckless challenge. It's a yellow card. And the precedent has been set here, and no one from FIFA or the IFAB have come out when this happened and said the referee's got it wrong. VAR's got it wrong.
They never do, Keith. They always run for cover when there's any form of controversy. But wasn't that in one of the four? Remember the four issues where VAR could come in? Mistaken identity, penalty kick, goal, and offside. So it would fall under that category. So
it does.
I'm playing devil's advocate now, Keith, with you. So why would it be such a major issue when it's one of the four criteria?
I think because rarely, I can't recall having seen an incident, although a guy pointed out today, I've not had the opportunity to check, that Almiron was in a similar situation earlier in a game. Yeah. But I don't know about that. All I can say is that the law does define that mistaken identity, brackets, open brackets, when the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player. So that's crept in. So
then
here
is it only? I'm just trying to get in my head, because I know people are asking, and I'm if you like, asking on their behalf. Is it only for a straight red card then? Does it not come into being for a second yellow card?
No. And the reason I say no, I've read very carefully. I'll repeat it again. This is one of the pieces of criteria, and the law reads, headline, mistaken identity, when the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player. That's under the law, the VAR protocol. So here you've got a situation where a referee is going to and has yellow carded someone, and VAR's come in and said, you got the wrong guy. You've got mistaken identity here. He's not committed an offence. You're wrong. The opponent has, because he's deceived you by the very nature that you caution the wrong player, the opponent has deceived you by an act of simulation. And as a result, the referee withdrew one yellow card, issued a second yellow, and I've got to say a second yellow, which then followed obviously a red. So everyone's saying he's got a red card, he got a second yellow, then a red. And so hence the situation, it caught me out. I think he's caught a lot of people out. It's new, but the referee and the VAR were up to speed. And I guess they were up to speed because it'd been discussed at the Miami conferences that FIFA ran prior to the start of the World Cup. And I say again, that happened. The Swiss player was dismissed for a second yellow. No one yet has come out from FIFA or IFAB to say that referee got it wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm keeping a close watch on it. At this moment in time, by the nature that this is a precedent, and they're saying, okay, if we hear any further news about this, further clarification, I'll come back to us and discuss it.
So I just want to elaborate just a little bit more on it. Again, playing devil's advocate, it does say a red card, but it doesn't necessarily specify how the red card is arrived at.
No, if you look at now the latest VAR IFAB VAR protocol, and I'll get to it. Bear with me.
Okay.
Because the only reason I know, right? VAR protocol, goal, no goal, penalty, no penalty, red card, including a clearly incorrect second caution. So that's added.
Yeah, that's it.
Mistaken identity when the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player. The law has changed.
That's Keith, just for pure clarification, just repeat that again, please, word for word. Yeah, just read it out again, because I know people say, what? Okay, here it is a second time.
A video assistant referee, VAR, is a match official with independent access to match footage who may assist the referee only in the event of a clear and obvious error or serious missed incident in relation to A, goal, no goal, B, penalty, no penalty, C, red card, open brackets, including a clearly incorrect second caution.
That's the issue.
Mistaken identity, when the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player. That's the new VAR, the revised, updated VAR protocol.
So the other three issues were as before, but it's just the issue now of the yellow card, second yellow card. So
yes.
they can intervene.
Yeah.
That's perfectly clear. Just to give another comment from Brian here, he said, I'm sure you have seen a lot of controversy with the game between Argentina and Egypt. I felt that the ref was pretty good with his decisions, yet he was accused of so many things on Facebook by a lot of fans. Even Salah said they had themselves to blame for losing. That was a pretty contentious game.
Yes, it was. And I think that the referee remained fairly calm. I don't think he got the big decision wrong. However, let me just say this. With the goal, not with Mo Salah's dive, with the goal, I couldn't see initially any form of offence in the penalty area. What happened then, neither could the referee. The ball broke loose and Egypt scored after a long run, a dribble and everything. It was just a fantastic goal at the other end of the pitch. And my view, and still remains my view, VAR should not have come in, because I believed, even having seen the footage, it wasn't a clear and obvious error. And I'm match referee, but immediately the VAR intervenes, and you've then got a referee now going to the screen under enormous pressure. And what they highlight is an offence involving McAllister. They say a push. I mean, I think what we're beginning to forget here is that football is a contact sport, and there is a degree of subjectivity around pushing now. We've talked about it in the past.
Indeed.
We've heard people talk about sustained push, a big push, and of course exaggeration from the opponent, who takes the easy route out and wants to fall on his backside. I just felt, in the context of allowing the game to go from the penalty area and a goal result, within the context of the criteria, he is allowed, the VAR, to go back. But I think, when I looked at it, I'm thinking, as a referee in the middle, I don't think I need that outside interference. So I would have allowed that goal. But then we had the other contentious issue, which was Mo Salah going to ground. I looked at that 3 or 4 times. I think Salah is a wonderful player, but he does have a bit of background in going to ground a little bit easier. And I think he did go to ground. I don't think there was contact, and therefore I didn't see that as a penalty kick. Neither did the referee, neither did VAR. Mm-hmm. So this is about, subjectivity, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
And everybody, I just think the role of VAR, I just believe, I keep saying it, if it's on the big screen, the referee and his colleagues are together, they're looking at it together, and the audience can see it, they can listen into what's being said, then we'll not have these real contentious issues, because they'll talk through it. And what I want to see is, like we see in rugby, the thing about rugby is the referee retains the premier role, and the other subservients can assist, offer advice, but ultimately he takes the role. What we've got referees who are not being encouraged, in my opinion, to go against VAR. And there are times when I'm thinking, in this tournament, I've seen incidents where I think VAR should have come in, and it didn't. So,
indeed, yeah.
Yeah,
you're watching the Ref's Opinion every Monday night, 8 o'clock at this time on facebook.com/Hanging Judge Ref. This is where Keith and I discuss all things refereeing, and we invite you also to join in the conversation, as some of you do. And you're more than welcome to either join in the conversation or ask a question or comment on some of the decisions that you have seen that maybe you agree or disagree with. You're more than welcome. Keith, you mentioned in one of your articles about an independent timekeeper for football, or soccer as the Americans call it, as in rugby effectively, where do you not think how would they decide when to stop the clock? And it could go on for ages and ages, and you could have a game maybe 2 hours long instead of 90 minutes.
I think the reason behind it is, first of all, I've worked with an independent timekeeper as a referee, when I refereed for a short period on the North American Soccer League, the NASL, we had an independent timekeeper. I didn't have any issue with that independent timekeeper, whoever it was. So I just played until I got the countdown and the game closed off. The reason I say is I think we still got, when we look at it in a global type view, I think some of the things that the IFAB and FIFA have done are terrific. I think that we've seen the speeding up of throw-ins, taken generally from the right position, just going unnoticed. We haven't seen too many of those reversed. I saw one crazy throw-in where the foot of the thrower was about 2 foot off the ground and he still hadn't delivered the ball, which was crazy.
Oh yeah, I've seen them too.
We've had injuries being treated really well, and we've seen substitutes leaving the other side of the field of play away from the technical area. And the referees managing that very effectively, players responding very effectively. And I think the general discipline in this World Cup has been really good. Yeah. So we've made all the law changes have been made to speed up the flow of the game positively. Okay, we can talk about the hydration break. If you're in that stadium and it's touching 30 with high levels of humidity, you need to take on liquids. So I've talked about the possibility of a golf cart filled with liquid and the players get it near the halfway line, because it spreads into a technical training session by the managers. So we've got a 3 minutes break, and we had a number of cautions in one game. Trying to remember whether it was the England game or not, and we had 3 minutes added time. So it was 6 minutes added time. And that for me was nowhere near long enough. So I just think I retain this view. I've had it a long time that the timing of matches is not as accurate as it should be. And it's a little bit like finger in the wind. I think I'll close off now. Whereas I think we need to move to an independent timekeeper, countdown clock, and get the issues. Now, you make a point, we could get 2-hour games. Well, then that's up to the way that FIFA and the IFAB look and make them and say, look, at the moment, our average playing time is 50, 52 minutes. We might as well go for 60 minutes, not 90, and play 2 hours of 30. I mean, it's not in one box. You have to think a little bit off the page to determine should this be allowed. I think the general view is at the moment they're not there, I think, but it might come in the future.
Then Law 5 has to be changed.
Yes.
Right, so the referee is the sole timekeeper.
Correct.
So
But then look at the role, Errol, in terms of Law 5 and the referee, because he's the sole decision maker as well. He's the guy, but we've seen that watered down, haven't we?
Oh, big time. Big time.
So I think the game has changed.
Is it changing for the better, do you think?
Not really. I mean, I it's a little bit like the selection of referees. We all have a view. I learned today again on social media that, we're in that semi-final, 4 games and probably a third place playoff. So we've only got 4 games left. And you look and think, who's going to get the final? And I got Oliver as having a really good World Cup, but then out comes the news: England, Argentina. You can't referee Argentina because of the thing that happened years ago in the early 80s with Argentina. And then I learned today that my other choice for World Cup final would have been Clément Turpin, the French referee, who I thought was really outstanding, good referee. Le Texier, the French referee, and Taylor, they were all not retained. So I don't know the full list. But obviously, when we get to the quarterfinals, semi-final stage, then referees are released. They're not kept at the training camps.
Yeah. A good comment here, which had slipped my mind, and I had it on my notes and I lost it, but this is a very good comment, and it comes from Teresa Jacobson in the US of A. And she said, just get up those, she said, she's newish to football, but I'm curious to know your thoughts during the England-Norway game where the ball appeared to hit one of the overhead TV cables, but FIFA saying the chip in the ball did not record anything. Was there visual evidence of it? Good point, Teresa. Thank you.
It's a great question. And Norway are adamant that the ball did strike the spider cam and the wires of the spider cam and dropped down, and England went on to score.
Couldn't that be deemed as an outside agent?
Absolutely. And at that point, of course, the game is stopped and restarted with a drop ball.
Correct.
Now that's the law.
Yeah.
But where we have the problem is the proof. Did it hit the cable? Did it hit one of the cables or not? And FIFA have said with the chip in the ball, the sensory system, nothing was recorded. And therefore, from their perspective, with the video footage that they've apparently looked at, the ball didn't strike the cable, so the goal would stand. Now, here I switch my technical hat on with my own involvement of introducing goal line technology. And one of the things in that process was, how do you communicate to the referee that the ball has crossed the line? And that was to a watch that said goal. Where in all the gizmos that the referee now carries, is there anything that tells him or the match officials that the ball did strike an outside agent? Because when the ball is traveling in the air, it has resistance. I've been down this route, and the resistance would actually, if the sensitivity of the ball is such, you can't just say, well, it's got a sensor in the ball, it didn't record. Because that hype that you get with snooker in cricket when the ball strikes the bat, you may not get that when the ball strikes the cable. So I think it's opened up that question, hasn't it? In terms of it's left open. FIFA have actually come out very clearly and said it didn't strike the cable. I don't think the referee's got a prayer of seeing that and being absolutely 100%. That's the problem. So I think this is something that they're going to have to look at.
I didn't hear any comment, or didn't read any comments on social media or in the press, or I didn't hear much from commentators either saying that it had hit the cable. And I think in most cases, for those who did say it was pure speculation. They assumed or they thought that it had, but it didn't deviate from England were on the attack. They would have retained the ball anyway from a drop ball. The only thing they could say would have slowed down the momentum, perhaps.
Yeah. But I mean, again, the law states, had it hit the cable, then that goal would have been ruled out and the game would have been restarted with the drop ball. But there is no evidence. And, Norway obviously aggrieved by it. But, like all these things, if you're going to make those sort of claims, you've got to have clear evidence that you can submit your complaint. You can't go on hearsay in football or any other sport now,
Keith, once again, thank you very much for joining me. We'll do one again next Monday and then we'll look back on all refereeing issues and the referees. And by then, of course, we will have known who the referee for the final will be. I
Yes.
still have my sneaky suspicion it might be somebody from the US. Okay.
Well, it could be. I don't think he had his best game. I've heard the word Fagani. That's the Iranian that is Australian. He's I think he's on his 4th World Cup. So who knows?
Yeah.
The important thing is get the best referee that's informed, that doesn't clash with with his own nation teams.
Absolutely. And thank you out there. Thanks, Teresa. It's your first time contacting the show.
Yeah,
I've known you quite a while. And for Brian also. And for all of you who've been watching in tonight, we'll do it all again next Monday. It'll be the end of the World Cup this time next week. Of course, the final will be on Sunday. But we'll have the show on again next Monday, 8 o'clock on facebook.com/Hanging Judge Ref. Good night and God bless. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.